partnered up with sisters Karen and Joan, the caring kind, to bring you the Glow Guide, a comfort you can hold. Location sharing and soft light, a safer story told. With anti-tip design and automatic LED glow for your family and loved ones, peace of mind can grow. Oh, Glow Guide.
Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Herson, owner of RemMD and the maker of Glow Guide. My father and I share a unique bond. We are both U.S. Navy veterans and physicians. My dad was very active into his late 80s, playing tennis, skiing, and working. But in his 90s, dementia caused frequent falls. Despite my more than 20 years of medical experience, at times I felt powerless to help safeguard him at night. Sure, conventional cane lights existed, but he would never have remembered to turn one on or charge one. This is what inspired Glow Guide. It is the smart accessory to transform canes, walkers, and wheelchairs. It lights up, locates, and links to family members. This is freedom to mobilize for my family and yours. Thanks. Last week, I met Joan Williams and Karen Pascal. We were all at the New York City Department of Veterans Services luncheon. Turns out they were the keynote speakers, but they're also certified health coaches. They were kind enough to take an interest in my business, RemMD. I showed them Glow Guide, and they saw immediately the value. That was touching. They also spoke of their grandma and how she might have benefited from seeing automatically at night. They promoted my business from the moment we met. They're hosting a YouTube live stream on a Sunday evening. I hope you can join us. Thanks so much.
When the path ahead is feeling rough and shadows try to steal your trust, my Glow Guide for safety lights their path and bring confidence, comfort, and peace of mind.
Hi, Will. What's new and good?
I like that opening you just put up there. That's beautiful. I like that.
You like that?
That was good. That's the first time I've seen it, because on the shows I've watched lately, I haven't seen that part of it. So you just put that in recently, right?
Yes. Okay. That was completely recently. Yes.
Yeah, it looks good. I like that.
Oh, thank you. What's new and good?
Oh, life. Despite all the difficulties we're having overall from a society standpoint, life is still good and worthwhile.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people want to give up on it and think that, there's not going to be anything tomorrow for them to and we talk about this all the time on your show. But there's always tomorrow, and there's always a better opportunity to see something better come for you.
Absolutely.
Always.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And, that is why we decided to give this podcast or this show this title this evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's X-ray. Everybody, when you hear the word X-ray, you know exactly what it is.
Exactly.
And this is not the X-ray where you're going to go into a hospital. This is an X-ray where you're going to sit with yourself and go into the 12 pillars so that you can structure and rate each area of your life from 1 to 10 and look at the gaps. We are talking about finances. Look at areas in your life with your finances. Look at your creativity. Are you bringing out your creativity? Look at your social life. How is the social life? Are you having relationships with people that you don't really need to have relationships with on social media? Look at your education. Are you taking the time to learn something new? How is your spirituality? Are you grounded yourself? How is your health? How is your joy? How is your career? Is your career making you feel burnt out? How is your physical activity? Are you moving enough? How is your home cooking? Are you taking time to prepare nutritious meals for yourself? How is your home environment? Are you getting rid of a lot of clutter? How is your relationship? The relationship with yourself. How is that? How is that relationship with yourself? Are you happy with yourself? And if not, why? Why are you not happy with yourself? So look at all these areas, zoom in on it, and x-ray each one of these areas. And on a scale of 1 to 10, you're going to give yourself the number and be very honest with yourself. Be very honest with yourself, because your bones is the foundation. Your muscles is the effort. And your heart, there is where the emotional part comes in. So this evening, we really want you to sit back and to really look at these areas in your life. Just x-ray each one of these areas. Because we all need to structure our lives and do some self-reflection on the areas of our lives and see exactly where we are heading. It's mind, body, soul. And you know what? We just need to be a detective
Yes.
in our life.
Yes, yes.
I see it as just being a detective in our life, just looking at the areas, as I just mentioned, the 12 pillars. You're just looking at these areas, being a detective. You're looking at your social life, your education, your spirituality. Am I waking up early in the morning? Am I looking at the way how I'm going through my day? Am I grounding myself? Because many times we are running a priority system. That is what we are running.
Yes.
We are running a priority system, and we need to pause and notice what's working and what is feeling heavy. And we can take some small supportive changes, some micro ones. Let's look into that. Because you know what? You can't treat what you can't see. You cannot treat what you can't see. That is why you got to be honest, have an honest conversation with yourself. And you know what? Many times we are waiting for a crisis to happen before we reclaim our lives. We're waiting for a crisis. But today we are inviting you that you can choose clarity now. This present moment, you can choose clarity. So we just want to thank you so much for taking the time and pulling up a chair and sitting with us this evening, because we're going to unpack some real good pointers for you and to help you at this junction in your life. Because many times we are trying to align ourselves and we are focusing on so many things. What are the inner vows that you're really telling yourself? Your inner vows. And we tend to put things on the back burner. So we're going to come back to this, but sometimes we never get back to that.
Exactly.
And it's waiting for our attention. And then we're telling ourselves, you know what, things are not really going the way how I want it. It's because you put it on the back burner. You got to do the introspection, because that is the foundation of self-awareness. Introspection is the foundation of self-awareness. So once you can get to the parts that you've been putting at the back, bring it to the forefront, and start to re-examine, start to x-ray them, and see exactly what's working, what's not working. And we have to stop performing and start telling ourselves the truth. Because many times we are only performing, but we're not telling ourselves the truth. So we really need to address all these areas in our lives and see exactly where we are heading, so we can able to live a life of alignment. So, Will, we just want to welcome you today, because we know you're going to talk to the subconscious mind.
Absolutely, I am. Absolutely.
You know, you're going to be talking to the subconscious mind, you know?
Yes.
And we just want to thank you so much for taking the time this evening and sitting with us. So we're going to able to zoom in on these areas and to help people to understand that, you know what? All is not lost. There is hope. But it all depends on your mindset.
Absolutely.
And how you will address the things that is happening in your life at this present moment. But I'm not going to take up more because I really want you to hit it hard tonight.
We are going to. You know, this is going to be a fast show too.
It's going to be really fast indeed. Exactly. It's going to be really fast.
Like the Sunday show when you have more time. You know, we're going to condense this to, I think, an hour, a little bit after, maybe. But yeah, so it's going to be a fast conversation. And
absolutely, and it's going to be very impactful.
Yes, it is. I've tailored it specifically for the title. You know, something, since we brought that up, it's funny that you would contact me and talk about this type of title for a show, right? I have a speech that I've been presenting lately in businesses, and this fits around what I'm going to talk about perfectly, because we're at a time where you have to go inside now, and a lot of people are still looking outside to try to find the better tomorrow. You're not going to find it there because it doesn't exist outside of you. It's inside. And so this is perfect. You know, every time we talk, Karen, it's usually lined up to where we are aligned, and the subject matter and whatever we're discussing is right where my spirit is at that moment. So that alignment this is purposeful rather. And so as we go through this tonight, we're going to leave you inspired, motivated, educated, and also with some new knowledge about what you can do to change your life. Because that's what this is all about. This show, you know, this show is very inspiring show, because if you listen to it and get the context of the conversation, it leaves you with something. True. And that's what people are looking for now is everybody's trying to figure out how they can get more views online and so forth. But what's going on is the algorithm has shifted. And what it's doing now is it's helping you build communities, because it's finding the people that are looking for that particular type of information that you're sharing with people. It's finding them and sending them you. So it's letting them know it's somebody else out here like you that's talking about this kind of stuff, and maybe you can get something from this. So here it is. And so that's how the internet is moving forward. That's where we are right now. See, so people are still trying to put shock value stuff out there and say, well, I'm going to do high value content. And if you're just talking about just stuff, people are disengaging with that because people are looking for something. And so shows like this that can give you something to attach yourself to is where you need to find yourself. And you will find yourself here. everybody that's watching right now, like this show, Karen, I think, as far as I know, you just put this together today, right? So it's not even really pronounced out there, promoted, that it's going to even be happening, right? But we're going to do the show, and everybody that's just kind of scrambling around right now, looking through and just kind of going through stuff, looking for something to view, they're going to find this right now. But everybody else is going to see the replay of this, and they're going to say, how did I miss that?
Yes.
You're right. Because again, Karen just put this together today. So she wasn't trying to promote this thing, because that's the specialty of the show, because sometimes you won't get an advance notice about this is what's coming up. She'll just come up, the spirit will hit her and she'll get the idea, and there it is. It's there. So you won't get a whole lot of notice that this is coming on. And so with that being said, the title, Taking an X-ray of Your Life and Reframing Your Needs. Now, that's a big title when you actually think about it. It's a big title, but it's asking you to look inside. It's asking you to search inside, because that's where your heaven is. It's not out there somewhere. It's not out in space somewhere. It's with you all of the time. I talk, most of the time when I'm speaking, and no matter where I speak at, I always include spiritualness in it, because I'm a spiritual speaker. So it's going to come down to spiritual psychology, and then I'm going to throw in the other stuff that you may want to talk about too. If you need some religious stuff, like right now, I'm going to go to the Bible real quick and put this on your mind, right? Before I take you into the I am. Okay, in John 5:7-8, you become the words you speak. Now, we talk about that all the time, but you become what you speak. So that becomes your belief. If you speak it and you say, I am, and whatever you put behind that I am, that's where you are going. So this stuff actually works if you use it correctly. Now, if you just say it and just don't have anything behind it, you won't feel any different. But see, that's why I'm speaking to you tonight. My title here, subtitle underneath what Karen has the show titled as, is Adjacent Reality. Now, some people will say, whoa, what is that? Adjacent reality. Well, anytime you look at around now at 3D, that's adjacent reality. So virtual reality, any kind of virtual reality, that's adjacent reality. And the reason that I'm going to take you down this road is because that exists simultaneously, just like the spiritual and the material world coexist.
Yes.
Very few people tap into both worlds, because one, you don't see, so you don't believe it's real, because you can't see it. So you tell yourself, well, that can't possibly happen, can't exist, or anything of that nature. But it does. And you don't have to be religious. I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. You don't have to be religious to tap into this. If you learn how to work it and utilize it, it can help you get to where you want to go, because it's going to help build a foundation for you. So I'm going to take you through some parts of it. And if I happen to come to your business and get a chance to speak there, you get to hear the whole thing. But tonight we're going to condense it down.
Yes.
But you're going to get the gist of it, of what I'm talking about, which is why I just took you through the virtual reality aspect of it, because the spiritual and the material coexist at the same time, and learning how to tap into your spiritual aspect is going to be your guide. Because here's the thing. You exist in the spiritual anyway. You speak it, you think it, but you don't utilize the power of it, because everything exists spiritually before it becomes material. But see, you don't think that way, because you have all this dogma going with the religious aspect of, you're going to go here and you're going to get punished for that. And all of that stuff is something totally different. That's not even real, actually. So once you tap into what it actually is, it becomes a power. And we've done a show before about your superpowers and your supernatural powers. And so you do have access to change your life, but you got to tap in to what you don't think exists. Now, we talk about adjacent reality, right? And we're going to talk about strategic plans that you need to make, which you come up with yourself. I'm not going to give you a blueprint. You're going to make your own blueprint. Psychology of it, the spirituality. Now, psychology and spirituality are actually interwoven. They're sort of the same things, because common sense is psychology. You use it all the time, but as I like to tell people all the time, they've created systems that use language that you're not familiar with to make you think that there's something different going on than what you already know. That's the way this world works. They changed it and created systems to create avenues to generate money. And to subclass everybody that's not speaking that language to tell you, well, we're here and you're not, so we are smarter than you. But the reality of it is they've just gone and learned some things and twisted the words to where you can't connect with them, which is like studying the Bible, for instance. You can understand the Bible if you read it in the context of where you are, not with what you've heard some preachers say in the pulpit, and not what you think that you've heard about, where the Bible is so complex you'll never figure it out. Oh, my friend, contrary to that, if you read the Bible slowly, those words will jump out at you and you will understand them. Now, those simple words have many different meanings, of course, but they're all simple in the context of you understanding what you're reading in that Bible. Okay? If you get that, the rest of it becomes easy. And you don't have to fear about something outside of you not figuring that you know what they're talking about. It's not them talking about it anyway, to begin with. It's a man talking about it. These are men who wrote this book. Okay? You have to really get that far into this in order for you to clear your system, for you to move forward without waiting. You know, I hear a lot of times, you hear women say that they have they're waiting on God to send them their man, their husband. You'll be waiting until the earth ends for that to happen. But you always hear it though. I'm waiting on God to send my man to me. He's just going to send me a good man. Okay. A lot of times a good man will be right in front of you and you won't even recognize him because you're waiting on something outside of you to tell you that that's a good man. And you hear men say it too. I'm not going to leave it one-sided here. You hear men say, well, I need a godly woman, God-fearing woman. But they say it out of the context of not knowing what God actually is.
True.
It's something that they've heard. So they're not speaking any life into it. And just like when you're waiting for something or somebody to come to you, it's not going to happen that way. So now, when we're talking about adjacent reality, we're talking about something that's biological, it's transformation, it's possibilities. So you always have to look at the possibilities. I always talk about there are many possibilities. When you put your I am in place and you put whatever behind that I am, it's going to come with many possibilities. So don't set your heart on one particular way that this is going to happen for you or come to you or wait for you. There are going to be different opportunities for it to come in, and some of those will come in really in a manner that you won't even notice it. It might even bypass you, and then you might figure it out sometime later, like, wait a minute, that was my chance right there. So that's why you have to be aware.
Self-aware. Yep.
You have to be aware, because when you step into the adjacent reality and you step into the spiritual aspect of it, you're going to become aware, because that's going to be your strength. When you wake up, and we talk about awakenings all the time, when you wake up, the things that you've never noticed before, you will notice. You will see things that you think were not possible. You'll experience things that you heard, but you said, that didn't happen to them. And some of this stuff you won't ever be able to really share with anybody, because you'll feel like if I tell them this, they're going to think I'm crazy.
Yes.
But it's not going to happen for everybody. That's what the awareness actually is, because everybody's not going to wake up in this time frame. The life frame that you're in right now is maybe just one for you. It has nothing to do with anybody else, okay? So they may not even get aware and wake up until their next trip here. And since I speak in that context, as we start to go down this list, time is something, it's linear, right? In the Bible, the Bible speaks of time like this. The past is the future, and the future is the past. Think about that just for a minute. If you got what I just said there, it's flipping them. It's telling you you've already experienced your future. That is going to come around again, and in some cases, it's going to look brand new to you. But if you're aware, you're like, wait a minute, I have a feeling I've experienced this before. You can't actually put it all together, but you have actually experienced it before, because from what I just said, the past, and scientists are working on this right now. Scientists are starting to figure this out. Now, there's a lot of things that are written in the Bible that never has any aspect of reality to it, right? But then there's some things that were spoken in there that these people from way, way before the Bible was even thought about being written had tapped into something. They knew something that we still don't know today, that we're trying to figure out how and why this is possible. So when I'm speaking of virtual reality, you think about it, when you put those glasses on, you see the world in a different frame. The world looks totally different for you. That's something that's happening in a different world. But you've experienced it before too. So that's why when you flip it, because the only time you really have is your present. But you've already lived in the past, and you already move forward to the future. And if you learn how to actually utilize what I just said, you'll see life. You'll see it. You see it coming and passing. And you're like, okay, I know what to do in this particular situation. See, a lot of this works off of patterns too. That's how AI works. It works off of patterns. I was talking to some people about a week or two ago, and they were talking about them filling out applications on job sites and that sort of thing, and trying to get hired to get new positions, right? And I explained to them that when you fill out an application, the AI that's actually going to interview you, not a person, it's going to be an AI. It's reading patterns. And so whatever you put in that resume, it's looking through to look for patterns from how you describe your life. What kind of job did you have? How long did you stay there? What did you do? It's looking for patterns. And if you matched up those patterns well enough, the AI is going to say, this is a good candidate. And so it's going to recommend you get hired, or at least brought in for the interview. Now, the AI is also doing the interview, okay? Most HR personnel today are just supervising AI. AI will come up because you're getting interviewed on a computer screen. And most of the time, the person that you see on that screen is an AI. You think you're talking to an actual human because you don't know. So unless that AI some kind of way has a glitch, you will never figure out that you've been talking to an AI all of this time. And guess what it's doing? It's reading you and your body language the whole time. So when you're having that conversation, you can't treat it like you're talking to a person, because the AI is reading your eyes, your facial expression, how you move. If you move a certain way while you're trying to answer this question, it's prejudging you. Because it's been programmed to do that, right? Now that's a bias, but they're not going to tell you that that's a bias, though. Even in law enforcement, there's no way for them to actually, they go through all of this understanding body language and that kind. It's all a bunch of crap, because they are doing the same thing as they're talking to you. They're moving too. So how do you know that they're telling you the truth? It's a bias. It's a built-in bias, and it's part of the system. So you can't actually read somebody's body language and tell whether they're telling you the truth or not. Now, if they're looking away and that kind of thing, like they're trying to figure out, and a lot of times that's from nervousness too. And some people just can't hold eye contact with people for more than 10 seconds or so. They get nervous because in some cases they can feel that you're looking through them. And so that brings up the anxiety in them, and they don't know how to calm themselves. And so they have to look away or look up or something to kind of reset themselves, and then they can tell you what they want to say to you. But if you do that in front of the computer screen and you're being interviewed, AI is judging you and saying, "Oh, wait a minute, something might be wrong here. So I don't know if I can recommend this person, but I'll be cordial and go ahead and go through the rest of the interview with you." and then I'm gonna just mark you as an X. You know, we're not even thinking about hiring you. So be aware. And once you wake up, every aspect of your life moves forward in that awareness. You don't go back to sleep. See, some people think that once you wake up, that you go back to sleep. No, you you can choose to pretend like you don't know anymore, because you may feel pressured some kind of way, like I know something that they don't know, and how do I deal with that? So you may start to be antsy about that, but you don't go back to sleep, because you've experienced something that very few people have truly experienced. And really, people are taking drugs to get the experience that you may get naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's people out there wanting to be awake so bad, to want to know what's on that other side, that they're taking a certain type of drug that you can't just get off the street now. You have to go some particular places for this to happen. But if you take that drug, it puts you in a different realm to where you can see and hear things that you think that that's not possible. But people that come back from that will tell you that was what was that? It changes them, because they've seen something that the everyday person who's not aware can't even fathom the idea of it, something like this happening. So that's why I said about possibilities. You have to be open to possibilities, right? And then you have to also be in a mind frame of unpredictable, because what's going to take place is going to be unpredictable as you move yourself forward through. As you start to build your new foundation, things are not going to play out like it's a movie. So everything just sort of falls into place, right? That's not going to happen. You're going to be all over the place. In some situations, you will even create self-doubt. That's why your I am has to become a belief system. Okay, adjacent reality. You have to build a whole new belief system parallel to the material world that you exist in, that you can physically see and operate and touch on a daily basis every moment of your waking, that you're awakened and breathing. You're building a whole separate world that only you are able to connect into and see and understand. If you're aware, you know you're not alone, because your consciousness, you're going to awake consciously too. And that's going to play into this. Now, when you start to build your new plans, it's going to be strategically. Only you know what you need to do and the things you need to apply to get to where you want to go.
Absolutely.
So like when I go to speak, and I'm sure Karen does this too, and Joan, when you speak into a group, you're not giving them a blueprint so much. What you're trying to do is give them an outline, and then you have to fill in the blueprint yourself. See, as a speaker, people think everybody can be a speaker, but some people can do it in a unique way and manner where you really connect with them and you understand what they're there to do. We're not there to become your God or your idol. What we're trying to do is get you to open up to all the possibilities of you that you've been putting on the side and saying, no, well, I can't do it. It's possible, but maybe not. It's not for me. I can't do that. We're trying to tap into your subconscious, which is why I like to speak to your subconscious with the I am, because I'm trying to wake it up and store what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
If I can do that in a manner where the subconscious stays awake and listens, is storing it away in your data bank, at some point, the words that I spoke, remember what I just said in John 5, 7, and 8, you become the words you speak. So if I put the right words into your data bank, it's programming you to follow those words that you're going to think yourself, and you're going to follow plan. That's going to be your strategy. You're going to say, this right here will work for me if I do this, this, and this. That's the X-ray Karen wrote about in the title of the show tonight. So it's not that difficult, but you try to make it more so than what it needs to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, as you keep moving forward into this, you're going to come up with a new operating system. And that's what I just mentioned a little bit. I'm kind of jumping through them. But your new operating system, again, operates in both worlds, where your belief, what you've spoken to yourself, becomes a belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, if you strongly believe this, then you will be able to hold that foundation and move it forward, progress with it. Now, I mentioned this one, it's been about a year or so ago, Karen. I mentioned this. I love to have people knock on my door, and usually it's somebody from a religious organization, but so occasionally I still get the salesman trying to sell me something if I'm home. But I had a couple of guys a few weeks ago on a Sunday. I was getting ready to leave the house too, and they rung the doorbell. I go and I answer the door, and they're out trying to get new members for a church that's right around the corner, right? So they asked me had I heard about the church. I told them yes. They asked, did I have a few minutes? And they like to introduce the Lord to me. So, so when he said that, I asked him, I said, are you strong in your faith? He said, yes, I wouldn't be here knocking on your door if I wasn't. I said, okay, well, I'm going to share something with you before I let you start talking to me, because when I counter what you're talking about, it might make you doubt what you just said that you believe and you strong.
Mm-hmm.
He said, okay, yeah, go ahead. I said, well, look, I have plenty of people that knock on my door all the time. And usually some of those people will leave with doubt of what they said they came for.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, that's not going to happen to me. I'm all in. God is my savior. And I said, okay, all that's good and fine. I said, okay, so before you start, because I know that you're going to go down this road of, sin first, and then you're going to go down some other roads. He said, yeah, I'm going to talk about history and how religion is God exists because he's part of history. I said, when I say what I'm about to say to you, I think that you're going to shut down and not want to finish this conversation. I say, now, if you go to Matthew 27, 60 through 66, he said, well, wait a minute, hold on. So he gets his Bible out. He opens it up. I said, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm about to say here. I said, now, at the 3 days, Jesus, God, was supposed to have raised up and walked out of the cave that he was in. I said, that's the story. I say, but what people don't really see is what the verse that I just gave you. What does it say there in the Bible? He looked at it. He looked back up at me. I said, that stone was never removed from that tomb. So says the Bible itself. So now, where are we going with this again? Karen, he looked at me, then looked at the guy that was with him. He put his Bible back in his backpack. He said, thank you for your time. He turned and walked away. I said, you don't have to go. I want to hear what you got to do. He said, no, I'm done. He walked away from my house. I had took his faith and balled it up like it was a piece of trash and threw it back to him and asked him to catch it. That wasn't my intent, though, because of what I just said. You have to actually buy fully into what you say you believe.
Absolutely.
And if I have a counter argument to that, I'm not going to base my argument off of just my opinion. That's where he thought I was going to go. See, he thought I was just going to do like every other person that he probably does this to. They just have their own opinion of, well, I don't see this, I haven't seen that. And if there are people talk when they talk in religion, but I gave him words that were actually in his Bible. When I gave him those words and then told him that he knew then that, okay, if the stone was never removed, then none of this stuff ever happened then. Because that stone is important to the story. Without that stone being removed, that means if you got nailed on that cross and you did not walk out of that cave, there's nothing to talk about. The story ended on the cross. And whatever happened leading up to that point, that didn't happen, because if the stone didn't move, none of the rest of it could have possibly happened either. It completely takes away from it. That's written in the Bible itself, not opinion. And so that's why when you do this, when you step into your adjacent reality, you have to come with a conviction that you believe so strongly that this is possible for you, that you can exist in both worlds. They can coexist. And if you're awake, you're going to become aware. And as you become aware, you can't go back. You realize that they both really do exist together. You see, all I did was destroy the idol that people worship. I didn't say that there wasn't a God. The God of the Bible is not what I'm talking about. Consciousness exists free of an image. It don't have an image. It's around you and within you all of the time. And in that same Bible, it tells you that the God of that Bible in the beginning was a spirit. So it never formed a human form. It was a spirit. So it never took up it didn't need to. Why do we want to be you? Why would it want to look like you to prove a point or suggest that some kind of way it's going to save you from the salvation or something? It wanted to destroy the same humans that it created after it created them. So you have to have a conviction for it. That was my point in that. Now, as you move through this, the spiritual aspect of what you speak, remember what I said, John 5, 6 through 7, you become what you speak. Spiritual is you speaking it and feeling it emotionally, mentally. It becomes material eventually. It forms an opinion. It forms a shape. You see, when you fear something, you fear it because your brain can create what you fear. So when people start telling you that they've seen something that was a demon sort of look or something like that, they created that look because that's something that they thought of the way it looks. So if your brain gets enough of that information and you thinking like that, it's going to materialize it in a form. So that's guess what? That's what you're going to see. You're going to see exactly what you thought it looked like. That's what it's going to look like. That's why when you hear people tell you that they died or that and they came back, they seen Jesus. How could they possibly have done that? How could they seen what they had created in their own mindset that a Jesus character would look like? Because they give you details of what they said it looked like. You have long hair and all this kind of stuff. They created that image. That's not what the image truly looks like. And here's the thing about that creation too, because as we go down the rest of this list, the Bible describes what Jesus looked like. A painting, people go by what Michelangelo painted on a ceiling inside of a church as to what Jesus looked like. But if you read the Bible describes it. But then people, they don't want to hear that explanation though. So they start saying, well, no, it didn't really look like that. That's not what they meant. But oh, wait a minute. If you believe that that's the true word, it tells you what Jesus looked like. That he had curly hair, you know, he had black, he was black, according to what the description of him was in the Bible. But the picture, this is why framing is so important, reframing. They gave you a picture of Michelangelo drew in a church, and that picture became Jesus. That's why we have the version of Jesus looking like that all over the world today, and not what the Bible tells you that the Jesus in the Bible looked like. So that's why you have to reframe what you think you're going to do, because how you create it in your head is going to be transferred spiritually outward to what it becomes. So if you say you know, if you just exist and you say, well, I just want to have more money and have some success. If you can visualize what that actually means to you, not what somebody else's success is or whatever their material gain is, what it means to you. If you can visualize that spiritually, you start to connect with it. It starts to form. You can start seeing yourself in that frame. whether it's a certain type of a car you can see yourself in living through and driving around, certain type of house, certain amount of money that you want to get, you start to visualize it. And as you start to picture yourself in that frame, now the steps to how you get there will start to come into fruition. Karen and Joan and myself talk about this all the time. Doors will open for whatever you say you are. It'll start coming towards you. You're gonna meet it. Now the frame, because if you got to do the work though. Because if you're not prepared, it's gonna pass you like a city bus would. You'd be standing on the bus stop and the driver pretend like, I didn't know you were waiting on the bus. I thought you were just standing there and he just zoom on by you. So you have to put in that work. Exactly, got to put the work in. You can't get there without it. You can't get there without it.
You got to put in the work. And it's the work what a lot of us are running from.
That's what people are running from. Because they think it's outside of them. That's the problem, Karen. They keep thinking that if I just say a few words in prayer, then somebody somewhere out there is going to hear my cry, and they'll give me what I'm asking for. If you put the work in on a personal level, you can get what you want. Now, you hear people tell you all the time, you manifest.
Prayer without any action
exactly. It's dead. And that's just not a religious thing. That's the reality of it. You cannot pray for something, and prayer is asking for it. You have to manifest it, and that comes back to what I said about the belief aspect of it. You have to be foundationally sound in your belief system, that it is really deep within you that you believe this wholeheartedly. And nobody can change how you feel about it. No matter what they say, it won't change you. You'll accept that. Okay, that's your opinion. I can appreciate that, and you won't be offended by it. Because you've allowed them to do something they're not going to allow you to do. You let them speak it in a peaceful mindset to where it don't bother you. So you can share your joy with them, but they can't do that with you. If you counter them and ask them about their dream or whatever it is purpose they think that they're trying to accomplish, and it has some doubt in there somewhere, they angry at you. Because you're triggering the part of them that don't really believe that it's possible for them.
Absolutely.
So see, that comes back to the adjacent reality of it. That's why this stuff is, you have to tie the psychology into it, and you have to tie the spirituality into it. If you want to really arrive at what you think your destination should be, those two things have to merge. Because that's going to be your foundation that you're going to put the cement on. It's going to harden, and it's going to stay there forever.
Sure.
Then you'll know your way forward. And so when you reframe something like that, it's not difficult for you to see it if it's done in what the steps that Karen and I just told you need to do it. You have to be convicted to it. And if you do that, your adjacent reality becomes real. It may take a few years before it actually all play out, but it's going to happen if you stay on that path. Now, if you just have a year to put in and you think that, okay, after a year, if it's hadn't happened, then it's not going to, and you just give up on it. You don't know how close you probably were to changing your life. Because you can be a step away from meeting that one person.
Absolutely.
One person, that's all it takes. That one person who's in a position to offer you something that will lead you through on the path that you're trying to go and give you an advanced jump to get there.
And the thing is that in this whole process, you really got to know what you want. You got to be crystal clear on what you want, and the truth about what you're tired of. What is that heavy load that you're carrying? You got to put that load down. You got to unpack. That is why you got to sit in silence. You got to pause. You got to do the introspection. Because many of us are carrying the load is so heavy, and we're not putting down the load.
That's right.
We're saying things are tough, things are hard, but we're not putting down the load. We keep repeating the cycle every single day.
Yes.
What are you doing different to get a different results? You say you want something different in your life, but what are you doing different? It ain't going to happen automatically like that.
No.
You got to change your infrastructure. This got to change so the outside you can see things happening on the outside,
Exactly.
you know, and you got to be truth about it. You got to be honest with yourself, because many times we are not honest with ourselves. Many things we outgrown. Sometimes you outgrown relationships, but you still got the people hanging around you.
Exactly.
So that energy is still there with you, and it's preventing you from moving forward. Because once you have that energy within you, you're going to keep attracting that type of energy to yourself.
Absolutely.
So that is why you got to do the internal work. And when you set that down, that foundation, don't negotiate it.
No, it's not. It's non-negotiable.
It's your foundation. If someone don't like the foundation, but it's time for them to leave, because you are setting the foundation for yourself.
That's right.
It's not for nobody else. You are setting your foundation for yourself, because you want to see your life moving.
Yes.
So you got to look at your values. You got to look at your boundaries. You got to look at your identity, because you are evolving. And you start to look at all of these things. That is the X-ray we're talking about. You extract all of these areas of your life, you know, and it takes your effort. It takes action, as Will was just saying there. It takes action, because where are you dispensing your energy every single day? Where are you dispensing your energy? Like in the opening statement, I was talking about your muscles. That's your energy. Where are you dispensing your energy every single day? And are you working or overgiving? Because many times we are overgiving of ourselves to relationships, to people, you know.
Yes.
You really got to look at all these areas in your life. And then you got to step back and ask yourself, analyze what you're doing every single day with your life. Yes. It's very important, because in order for us to really see things changing in our lives, we got to look inside of ourselves, and the hard truth we got to tell ourselves. We got to be honest with ourselves, because that is the only way you're going to get the results that you're looking for. That's the only way you're going to get the results you're looking for. And sometimes it's very emotional, because sometimes when you're shifting from relationships, that era finished, you evolve from that, you're shifting now, you're evolving into something that is new.
Right.
And sometimes it's very difficult for us to evolve into something that is new. But in that gap, there is where the answer lies.
Yes.
Because remember, you are moving to something that is new. And remember, when something is going to birth, it's a lot of pain.
It's pain.
It's a lot of pain. When something is going to birth, it's a lot of pain. And it's the pain that we run from. That is why we run back. Instead, we run back.
Yes.
And running back to the familiar, we can't move from there.
Nope. We comfortable.
Exactly, because remember, that is what we know. So we keep running back to that familiar place. But in order for us to grow and to evolve, we got to go through that pain. Because when you go through that pain, there's something beautiful waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Something beautiful waiting for you. And the pain is preparing you for what you're going to meet. And within that pain, there is so many things, sweet spots lies in that pain.
So many.
Because if you sit and you really get deep down, you will really understand why you're going through that pain. Because the pain is taking you to somewhere else.
That's right.
Where you're going, we know it's unfamiliar, but the pain is preparing you for where you're going. So when you get there, you already got a foundation laid. Your spirituality, either your prayers or your meditation or your yoga, whatever, those are the foundations that you're setting. You're also setting your creativity, things that maybe you never did before, you start doing. So you're laying all of these tracks down for what to come. because you got to be it now before you reach it.
You have to be it before you reach it. That's
you
right.
got to be it before you reach it. So the thing is that we got to look at ourselves, we got to look at our lives, and we got to see exactly where we're heading. Mm-hmm. And if we don't like the tracks, it's time for us to do some overhauling.
There you go.
It's time for us to do some overhauling. You know?
That's why I shared the story about the guy who's knocked on my door, because they weren't fully convicted to what they said they were and what they pretend to be on every Sunday that they're sitting in that church saying to themselves that they all in. But as soon as I pushed it to where it questioned that, they couldn't push back. And because he didn't know where to go with that. He was expecting for me to just start, pull something out of the blue and just start arguing with him. And when I put it out of the Bible itself, then he didn't know where to go with that. But see, that's why I like talking to people like that. Even when you're trying to sell me something, I will tell you that, give me your pitch. I hear you out. And then I will be breaking your pitch down as you go. So I know what the weaknesses are in what you're pitching to me. So that's where I'm going to counter with you. So when I counter, I'm bringing up those weaknesses. And usually what happens is they'll give up and shut it down because they can't explain away their weaknesses.
Yes.
But see, that's why when somebody, I get DMs from people who will question me about something, right? They and I don't ask anybody to agree with anything I say, but they'll question me about it. And then this in some regards, they expect an argument from me. I always give them a thank you. I appreciate this message from you for giving me your opinion and sharing it with me. And thank you for engaging with me. And usually they'll write back if they decide to write back at all. They say thank you because they don't know where else to go. At that point, I've shut down any differences between us because I'm telling them I respect your right to have your opinion. That doesn't bother me. You're not going to change my thought on it. So
True.
If you got something good, then I'll listen to it. But you have to have something really good. So that's the only way we're going to be talking. But otherwise, I respect your opinion, and that's that. So that's the reason I shared that story. And people who are all in on religion, that's fine if that works for you to some degree, or working for you artificially to where you think it's working for you. But if you want to keep thinking that your full access to power is outside of you, you're giving away what you have control over.
Absolutely.
And so if there was going to ever be a judgment day, why wouldn't that God ask you, well, look, how come you didn't ever push back and really ask a real question about what if?
Yes.
Why didn't you ever ask the question? You just went along with the program, and here you are now. So guess what? I'm rejecting you. You don't get to come in here. Get over there that other line. You go in there to the other place. Yes. So you have to be able to be strong enough. That's what Karen was describing. Yeah. You have to have strength in your belief so much that no matter what is said to you, it can't bring you down.
Absolutely.
If you have that kind of conviction to what you believe, you say you actually live by, it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about you, says about you, whispers about you. You could care less about that because you are aware and you know who you really are. Once you know who you really are, the other stuff is that's just noise. You don't pay any attention to that. So that kind of stuff can't slow you down because you're on your journey like you're supposed to be while you're here. So if you're on your true journey, it's not getting help from some place and you don't know where the help came from or something like that nature. You're going to know where the help came from because you spoke it into existence and then you acted upon it for it to happen. Now, when we talk about consciousness, we know that there's something out there, which is what I said. I don't have any, religious aspect of faith in me to follow somebody out of a Bible. Okay, the Bible itself is a very gifted book if you understand how to use it. That book it can take you places that you don't even think exist or capable of reaching. But it's not salvation though. That's where you're making a mistake at. See, you're giving away thinking there's some kind of way a salvation book. It's not that. That's not what the Bible ever was intended for and actually is today. It's not a salvation book. Once you learn how to actually use it, you access its power, its real power. Once you do that, adjacent reality, and what Karen's title of the show is tonight, you reframe your needs. The last part of the title. You are able to reframe, which is what Karen just got through covering in full detail. You are able to then reframe what you really need to be here. So this was a good show, and
yes,
it should have touched some people who know what to do with the information that they've received. Now, if some kind of way you feel offended by this and you're like, oh, well, I'm not listening to any of that stuff. I'm just going to pray for him and pray for Karen too, because she just shook her head and went along with that. Oh, that's blasphemy. No, it's not blasphemy. You are not aware enough to understand what we just said. The people who are, they know that we were speaking to them. I am is now being processed and put into play. And they will achieve. Those needs have now been reframed, and they will reach whatever it is they're trying to do. They will reach their goal because they're not waiting for something outside of them to some type of way have empathy for them and say, well, you know what? I did you wrong. I should probably do something for you here. So let me cover you in some goods and riches and make your life better. You have the power to do that.
Yes.
You do. Your I am, whatever you writing after I say that in your subconscious, make that powerful so you will have the drive to start on that journey to achieve it. Now, I'm going to close with this, Karen. Remember I said when the guy asked me, did I have a few minutes for him at the door? And he was going to, give me some salvation about religion, about Christianity. My conviction is true to who I am. So I can sit, and I have done this many times. I can sit in a church, listen to that preacher's sermon, and if it's a good speech, which is how I look at it, I appreciate that. But if it's a bunch of you're going to hell if you don't do this, you sinning, I need, $10 more in the plate. And no, I'm not going. No, you're not going to affect me with that. No, that's not going to do anything for me because I'm not afraid. See, once you wake up, you're not afraid of death. Once you get past the fear of you won't be here forever, nothing after that affects you because death is just part of this journey. This body of yours, you got other things to do spiritually. You come back in a different one. So this not the end of the journey. So nobody can scare you into you need to be fearful of what I'm saying here because I'm covered. You're not. So you might want to listen to me. And if you don't, then, well, you probably get a knock at the door. And it's probably going to be God next time. And he'll be asking you, why didn't you listen to the person I sent by there? But if you have no fear of death, none of that changes how you move. And that's what we're trying to tell you tonight is center your belief system. And then once you get it centered, build your foundation on top of that. Karen mentioned reframing. Reframe your foundation on top of that. And then move toward that reframed foundation that's solid. If you do that and you stay on that path, if you're a woman looking for a husband, the right guy is going to come to you. You will meet him at the least place that you expect to meet him. And you will know that it's him because you will be aware enough to recognize this person's on the same line. We might be able to do something. But if you're not any of that, then him saying hi to you might not be enough.
True.
You might need to see him get in his Corvette or something like that and say, well, wait a minute, let me run back out there and, hey, you forgot something. I thought that was yours sitting on the table over there. So, and then he tell you, no, it wasn't mine. And then you get your conversation. And by the way, are you married? Can I get your number? I can give you my number. Well, that guy's probably not going to, he's probably going, well, nice meeting you, thank you, and drive on off about his business. Because he's not the guy that you aligned with. On the other hand, if you are aware, same scenario, that man feels something. Remember, I told you your heart spark is where you come from. Love. You know what love feels like. It has a vibration to it. It's an energy. If that person is the right person, you'll feel it. And then you and that person will actually strike up a conversation that will say, okay, well, I got a few minutes. If you have a few minutes, I can talk to you for a second or two, and then maybe we can exchange numbers or whatever, WhatsApp or whatever you're doing, Instagram, whatever you got. That's how that's going to happen. It's not going to be because you're sitting inside of a building somewhere. That man that's coming into that building is under the same guys that you're under sitting in that building. He's there trying to find somebody who's probably not aligned with him some kind of way and can't put the pieces together, right? So that's why this is so important, because you have to be in alignment with who you really say you are. That's where we are now. And remember, at the top of this, let me say this, at the top of the show, I didn't mention this because Karen and I were talking behind stage a little bit about this, but it's the same thing as you finding your community, which is what the algorithm is doing now, right? So if you post something online and people see it, or even a video, for instance, that we're making here tonight, the people that align with this message will find us.
Absolutely.
They will find this show. And this will be just the first show that they see, and it touched them to get them on their way. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to say, that's part of my community now. So guess what? They're going to start tuning in, looking for Karen on Wednesdays to come on Wednesdays. Yes. They're going to start looking for her.
Yeah.
And whatever guest she has, they're going to be looking for, because she aligned the show along with their energy frequency, and they will then feel like they're getting something out of the show. It will give them a pathway that they can follow to get to where they want to go. That's what people are looking for now.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about. See, so you can't be shutting people out talking about, well, they're not sounding because I believe this and they just need to go to hell. You can't have that attitude anymore, because that is not where we are any longer. We're in a new era. And as I speak the new era, it may be 50 years before this thing is really complete, but we're in the early stages of it. You can see the old system is starting to collapse and go away. It's going to fall completely. Before you know it, we're under a whole new operating system. Even religion is falling. That's why they're trying to mix it with politics in the US to save it, because it's dead. You don't have new membership, new people joining churches now. You've got people still leaving churches in large numbers. So unless they figure out a way to really reconnect with people, nobody's afraid of going to hell anymore. This is hell. They're seeing it right now. This economy is hell. You paying almost $5-6 for a gallon of gas. Come on, that's hell. So you can't get any worse than this, burning in hell. What are you talking about? I got to put gas in my car. And you can't. You can't. You know something? Since I say that, I'm gonna say this the other. Shoot your picture back to you, Karen. I stopped the other day to put some gas in my car. Right? Somebody had stopped, and it's probably because they didn't have any more money than this. It was $5 on the pump. I looked at that pump and I'm like, that's probably all the money that they had to try to get some gas on this day. $5 won't even move your gas hand.
Oh my God.
That's like 2 gallons of gas at the most. So guess what? By the time you get to the red light, you've already sucked up 1 gallon of that gas. And every morning, if you watch your local news, when they doing the road reports, you'll see cars sitting in the middle of the lane on the freeway. And most of the time, it's not because that car is broke down. Those people have ran out of gas trying to go to work.
Yeah.
That's the message that we're delivering to you tonight.
Yeah.
You can get to where you need to go. It's not going to be completely through somebody else doing that for you. You're going to have to reconstruct restructure and reframe your life to where you generate what we call money in your own way, some type of way to merge with whatever it is you are getting from some company that you work for or something like that. Because these people are not trying to pay you enough money to sustain yourself in this economy. They're giving you just enough to pay the bills. And if you're lucky, you might be able to buy yourself $25 worth of groceries. Maybe. It's people actually living like that.
Yeah, it's
For
true.
real. It's people actually living like that.
It's true.
And so that's why we're talking about this in the detail that we're talking about, because we want better for you. And we know that you can obtain the best for you, but you have to change your mindset to get there. You have to adjacent reality, restructure, reframe you. Start there and build your way out.
Yes.
Today, you can put as little as $5 to $10 on and buy a piece of an investment that will help generate you money to move forward. You don't have to have a whole lot of money anymore to invest in something now. You can find companies that'll give you $5 investment portfolios. So you can start there, grow your money, and then move out. But you have to do more than what you've done in the past to get to where you want to go. So that's why I'm telling you, if you are somebody who believes in faith, find that faith within the words that you read in the Bible that apply directly to you. Okay? If you can do that and find the scriptures that can give you your guidance and your inspiration, you will start to apply that in a manner that helps you move forward. That's what you need. Okay? So do that and you will be fine. And so I'm glad that we did this show, sort of just on a whim, basically. But I'm glad we did it because the last few shows I've actually been on, I told Karen and Joan this, they've been so spiritually connected that we're talking to somebody out there. Every time we do these shows together, we're talking to somebody. And somebody is getting the message from this. Somebody is. So as I shut up and let Karen finish, says you need to say, I hope nothing but the best for you moving forward. And I hope that you find your self-awareness to where you can apply some of what we've talked about. And create your adjacent reality. And the title of the show itself, Taking X-Ray of Your Life. Take that X-ray and realize that you're not as damaged as you've been told that you are.
Yes. So true.
You're much better along the way, and you can get there, but you're gonna have to do some work, as Karen said. You're gonna have to do some work, but it's gonna be well worth it, though.
It's gonna be well worth it.
Exactly. Everything moving forward is inside out, not outside in. If you do what I just said, take it from inside and bring it out spiritually, you can start to see that you're capable of doing more, and you will obtain the things that you're trying to obtain. All right, that's it for me, Karen. Go ahead.
This was really good, Will, and I really like the points that you really touched on. You talk about your I ams. That's so important.
That's important. You have to start there. Most people don't say I am to themselves and actually mean what they say.
No.
It's like the guy knocking on my door. He was I am until I pushed back, and then he was like, well, who am I? He didn't know.
Yeah. Your I ams is super important because that's your belief system.
Exactly.
So whatever comes after your I am, that is what you are.
That's what you are.
Because that is what you're running on, that kind of subconscious mind program. So whatever comes after your I ams, that is what you are.
Exactly.
And you cannot be angry when people are telling you exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. People get real mad about that. Like, oh, you don't know me. You can't possibly. Yeah, okay. Well, you just showed me who you are.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know who you are.
You know, because we are reflections of what happened in our lives.
That's right.
We reflecting everywhere we go. We are reflecting.
Yep.
We are mirroring. You know,
I think somebody may have missed that, Karen. Can you say that one more time so somebody could possibly get it this time? Because they don't think that this happening. They're thinking, well, no, that's not true. That can't be true.
It is truth. It is the truth, because whatever you embody in and you're moving around every single day, that is what you're attracting to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and many times we asking ourselves, but why is this always happening to me? Why is this people like this always showing up in my life? Because you embodying that energy.
That's right.
And energies always attract.
That's it.
Right? So if you want to see that type of energy changing, you got to change your energy.
Yes.
If you don't want to attract those type of experiences and people in your life, you got to change your energy, because you're going to keep attracting that same energy within your life. You got to put the X-ray on that type of energy and see exactly what's going on with that type of energy. And I also like when you talk about possibilities, because in our life is endless possibilities.
Endless.
It's endless possibilities, but it just depends on how we chose to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of times experiences happening in our life and we see it as so bad and so negative.
Yes.
Not knowing if we look for the clues and the good within the experience, instead of asking the question, why is this happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to ask the question, what good can I find from this experience?
Oh, that was good.
You see, it's the narrative. The narrative is super important. Whatever comes out from our mouth.
Yes.
It's the narrative that we say every single day. That is what happens in our life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you also...
You know, that's part of the cognitive aspect of it, Karen, because you're going to build a narrative that's going to support your story.
Absolutely.
That's what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Once you build your narrative to where it's a success, then you start to make way toward that success, because you've built a narrative that's going to support it. Yes. But if you're telling yourself, well, maybe, might, possible, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be all over the place with those things. That's what you're going to encounter every step of the way. But once you create that solid narrative that I am going to do this, and this, then you're going to follow that narrative and you're going to do that, and that. You're going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
You're going to make it happen.
Absolutely. And, you know, we really need to do a needs assessment. Mm-hmm. You know, what do I need more of? Yes. What do I need less of in my life at this point in time?
What you need.
Exactly. You got to do a needs assessment, mm-hmm. because many times we have things in our lives that we don't need.
Yes.
We don't need these things in our lives. So all of these things we got to take a stock of in our lives, you know. Yeah. And another thing to, what do I need to stop pretending?
Yes. Yep.
Because many times we are pretending.
You have to be all in. You have to be all in.
Absolutely. Well, we gotta be all in.
Yeah, it won't happen if you halfway in and thinking that, well, like I just said, you waiting for something outside of you to send you something. That's half in. So you can't. It's not gonna happen. You 20 years from now still see. I'm just waiting on my husband. My husband, he's coming. And yeah, okay, well, all right.
So, you know, this was such a great podcast. Well, you know, we touch on so many points, and I do hope that the audience, you know, they really take away some great pointers here, you know. And the thing is that when you come into this space, there is so many takeaways that you can take away.
Mm-hmm.
And if the diet, you can take some things and you can pass some things on to someone who you know can benefit.
Exactly.
Because every day we go through different challenges, because we are evolving every single day.
Every day.
You know, and coming into this space, it helps with your evolution.
Yes. Because
there's so many things you can learn when you come into soul, light, and body space. So many things you can learn. When you walk away from this space, you can walk away with knowing that, you know what, I've heard something in soul, light, and body. Mm-hmm. Let me try this and see.
It's a trinity.
You know, because the thing is that when we are open, we are able to understand.
That's right.
Our evolution. And it just happens that sometimes when you come into the space is a word that you need.
Yes.
It's a word that you need to hear, but you have to be self-aware.
Have to be.
To understand that is the word or the message that you need at this point in time in your life. So we are so happy that you take the time and to sit with us this evening. And as when I came into the podcast this evening, I gave a list of the x-ray of the different parts of your life that you really need to take a stock of. That's your finances, your creativity, your social life, education, spirituality, health, joy, your career, your physical activity, your home cooking, your home environment, your relationship. Write all of these down and on a scale of 1 to 10, be honest with yourself and look at these areas in your life, because all of these things is part of you. You can't run away from none of them. These are the pillars that you're standing on. And if one is shaky, the whole foundation gonna be shaky.
Yep.
The whole thing is gonna be shaky. So it's time that we step back and look at our foundation that we are standing on, because sometimes you got to do repairs. You know?
Yes.
Sometimes you got to do repairs, because sometimes the foundation you're standing on is years you've been running on that program.
Yeah.
You know, years you've been running on that program. So it's time that we got to do some repairs, you know. And sometimes when you're going to do the repair, then you realize, oh, something else is wrong.
Yes, you do that. Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Something when you go into the foundation, you realize, oh my goodness, I didn't know that something else is wrong here. You know? So once you go in, you can able to see the parts that need your attention. So as you leave this episode, we just want to thank the audience for taking the time. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your presence here. Yes. And all the rest of persons that joined us on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. We just want to thank you so much for taking the time and sit with us today. Because you know what? You're in the right place at the right time.
Right time.
Yep. And we want you to carry one truth with you today. Carry one truth with you today. You deserve a life that fits the person you are becoming.
There you go.
Not the person you had to try to survive with. Your needs are not inconveniences. They are your invitations. So walk forward knowing that there is greatness awaiting you. Have your clear boundaries. Respect yourself. Know that you're worthy enough. And make that special commitment to yourself. And honor it.
Definitely.
Honor your spirit. If something is disturbing your spirit, know that that's not for you. If something is making you upset on a daily basis, know that it's not for you. Honor your spirit. And today, as you move forward, this is your season of alignment. This is your season to reclaim. Just put in the work, just put in the action, and you're going to see all the things that you're looking for in your life. You will see things will start to change on the outside. because you're changing the infrastructure. So you're going to start to see the change happening on the outside. So until next time, stay aligned, stay blessed, know that you're worthy enough for all the greatness in you. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with me today. Joan did not get a hop on.
Yeah, I see. She didn't make it this time. But she's here spiritually.
Exactly. You know, and we just want to thank you so much for always taking the time and sitting with us, because we know you always talk to the subconscious mind.
Always.
You know, because once you can change the subconscious mind, you will start to see the changes.
The doors to these possibilities.
You know, so we just want to thank each and every one of you out there again for taking the time and sitting with us, because we appreciate your time. And the hour finished so fast, Will.
Yeah, I told you it's gonna go fast. We're past an hour now.
Yeah, it finished so fast. So thank you once again, Will. And to the audience out there, we're gonna have a special on Sunday, enrichment of mind, body, and soul. We got a great guest. She's gonna be on Sunday, and she's gonna touch on some great points to help you as an individual with your spiritual evolution. So, as Dr. Jonas would say, just keep going for greatness.
That's it.
Have a wonderful night or day or midday or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Peace.